This is Phantom Electric Ghost, and we're live on the air with Paul Loeb. And he's the founder and CEO of DropTrack. It's an AI-powered music promotion platform. It's built to help independent artists and record labels get heard by the right people in industry contacts, for DJs, bloggers, playlist curators. And you're a veteran of both music and technology industries. You've worked at companies like Beats by Dre and Apple, where you've gained some knowledge on how to promote at the highest level. And so you built DropTrack to help, after the experiencing the frustrations of independent artists, to help us break through. So I'm glad to have you on the air with us today on the Family Electric Ghost podcast. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for the great intro. Yeah, as you said, I've had a background in the music business and also in engineering and technology, going back, 20 years now. Makes me sound old, but yeah, I started, some of my own companies. I've worked for companies like Beats by Dre, like Apple, Ticketmaster, Live Nation, Microsoft, big and small companies. And the company that I run today, DropTrack, is really focused on using technology to help musicians empower themselves, get heard by a bigger audience, get signed to a record label, get their music played on the radio. Everyone kind of has a little different definition of success for, what they want to accomplish in the music industry. And so we have different tools to help with all of those things I mentioned, getting played on the radio, getting your music put on a Spotify playlist or in the background of a TV show or a movie or a show that's on Netflix.
Sync licensing. That's a big thing.
Exactly.
I'm a synthesist, so I do a lot of not ambient music, but I have a lot of music, and I've always wanted to get into that. So I'll probably check what your tool can do and what your process can help me with, because I've been recording. I just love to write. I've been playing music since I was 17. I do it regardless. I have a day job. I'm a software guy. I work with a startup, so I can afford my toys. But and I like that. So I kind of left right brain. I'm a software guy. I work with insurance and banks on big software systems, policy admin systems, stuff like that. So I can afford my Moogs. I can afford my Rolands, my Junos, and all that stuff. I just do it because I love it. But I would like to be able to experience some success. So I'm going to probably do a use case on your platform.
Of course, yeah, would love to, we can chat more about that later. I can set you up with an account and show you how to get your music in front of, music supervisors, the type of people that would place your music in a, film or TV show, especially some of that instrumental ambient music. Like there's real demand for having that sits under dialogue in a TV show. And these production companies making these shows are much more inclined to work with an independent artist like yourself, where they can pay, a few $1,000s for a license to place the song that is much cheaper than going to a major label and getting
like a level artist who wants like $1 million.
Exactly. If there's something that sounds similar enough and they can get more affordably, they're going to do that all the time. And that was actually some of my earliest experience licensing my own music to like MTV or Comedy Central to be the background in some of the shows they had. And the reason why they placed our music was it sounded like a pop artist at the time, or it sounded like some popular EDM artist, but they could get it for much more affordable.
That's interesting. So like part of the issues that like artists have is like they don't know how to deal with the A&R. They don't understand the SEO because it keeps on changing all day. They don't know what the tags are. They don't know what they should be putting in. They don't know how much they should be posting. And then they see the algorithms like shifting every day. It's like they get something right and then it shifts again. So then they got to hire an expert, and the experts want more money than they'll actually make in getting, the 0.04 of a penny that you get from Spotify doesn't justify paying some guy like $300 or $1,000 because you're not going to get it back.
You're absolutely right. And a version of this is what I experienced many years ago that led me to start DropTrack in the first place. When I was out of college, I started a record label because I was producing some music and I had friends that were making music and they were great at making music, but had no way to like market themselves or get it heard by, more of a bigger audience. And so originally I had started this label, and I did what a lot of independent labels did, and might still do to some extent. You hire a consultant or like a radio DJ plugger or a club DJ promoter that they have, their DJ contacts. They take your music, they promote it on your behalf.
Yeah, on the radio.
maybe they follow up, maybe they don't. It felt like a lot of time it was throwing money down a black hole. And I was like, oh, there has to be a better way. And so that's what led me to start DropTrack in the first place, as a tool, like a self-service tool that I could use, and eventually other labels, other musicians, to promote my music, get it heard by DJs, get it played on the radio. And like it worked for me. And so I eventually like grew it and turned it into more of a product that others could use. But that frustration of like not wanting to have to pay somebody else or like a consultant to come in and do it, that like sort of gatekeeper mentality, and instead democratizing, using technology so independent artists are able to do this.
That's one of the benefits of AI, because can you finally get that level of promotion that would have cost you thousands of thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, to do that. And now because of the AI, compute, you can get stuff, you can exponentially have an effect.
Absolutely. Let me give you a great example of where we're using AI at DropTrack to help musicians like this. There's a lot of fear, a lot of concern about people using AI to make music or replacing, musicians. And we're taking a different approach where we say, once you've made the music, we can use AI to help more people discover it, or help you describe it in a way that people even want to listen to it in the first place. And like what the specific thing I want to talk about is we have a AI press release generator. And it's super cool. You upload your audio, like a WAV file or MP3, and we're able to detect what it sounds like, who some similar artists are, whether it has vocals, what genre it is, and create a first draft of a press release. And, just like any AI system, it's not going to be perfect. It might have some mistakes. And so you should always
trained it for that specific thing. Cause I was playing with taking one of my WAV files, sending it to one of I won't say which one I sent it to, but then I gave it a prompt like, listen to this new ghost track, right? And then create a promotional reel describing what this track is and give me the hashtags.
Love it.
Yeah, because I'm AI trained, I got certifications, I figured out, and it did it. Now it can need to get tweaked. You got to tweak the prompts to give it, to have it do what you want. But I can see, like, if you actually go under the covers and get into the guts of it, that's what you're doing. You're getting into the guts of it and having your experience from working at all those companies to figure out how to actually do it right.
Not only are we using the AI to analyze it, like you might have done, by uploading the file to ChatGPT or Gemini or one of those, but we also have all of the history and all of the data on our system about what songs are being played on the radio or being accepted by DJs or being placed in the playlist. So we're able to match up intelligently, like, oh, your song would be a good opportunity for this playlist or for this record label or for this DJ.
Yeah, that's a high value add. Yeah, exactly. you got the use cases.
We have the use cases, and more importantly, like we have the engagement data to know like who is reacting, like where are DJs responding to this record, are they in your country, are they somewhere else, and like being able to tie that back to what we recommend for you. Like the very first time you come and you upload your song, we can give you very actionable insights about here's the best opportunity to either monetize it or get more people to listen to it, or get it in front of more people.
That's really cool, because that's one of the benefits, besides robotics. I think AI is a really good tool to make robots and androids, is like, it's like the real use case for it. But there's other use cases, like instead of using it to make a song, because I got my Juno, I got my Moogs, I got my modules. I don't want it making the song, but I do want it helping me to promote the song.
Definitely. And one thing that we've also discovered, again, talking about more AI technology, is AI can help artists understand if the song is ready to promote. Like, does it sound good enough, right? Like, does it have technical flaws? Are there phasing issues? Is the level right? Like, we have AI now on our DropTrack music analyzer, where again, you upload your song,
like the master, whether the master was actually engineered right.
We can tell you that. We can, again, compare it to similar artists, tell you like how it stacks up. If there's lyrics, we can analyze the lyrics and give you suggestions on, how to improve the phrasing, or like, it's nuts now what the AI can do. I've been working with my team on this for the past few months. And what we found though, is it really helps, sometimes you have artists that, you know, they finish their song, they export it from Pro Tools or Ableton or whatever, and then they are immediately blasting it everywhere on social media. They're paying lots of money to, you know, run ad campaigns and promote it everywhere. And the truth is, it's just not ready yet. And if they had an objective opinion, or another set of ears that would listen
like
to the song first,
like a producer and an actual engineer back in the old days when you actually were in house, that they
exactly
would
the old
actually go,
A&R function, you know,
yeah,
what
because a lot
A&R
of times,
actually
I mean,
did.
you might have a song like me. I'm kind of progressive. Like all my songs are like 10 minutes, and I drop them down to like 4. But
Awesome.
like I spend a lot of time, when I choose to put them out as singles. Sometimes I just put them out on vinyl, and they stay their original length because I'm kind of like a Yes Genesis guy. But
I love
but
that.
yeah, because like there's certain people, like I'm not trying to be a pop star. Like some people might have like an REM vibe, right? You think about like a Michael Stipe back in the day, like
Mhm.
when he was in REM, and they were on the IRS and you couldn't understand what he was saying. But there was something about that, right? There's some people that like the Velvet Underground. There's some people that like Big Star. They like the Replacements. They like a Who's Good. They like it lo-fi. They like it happy accidents. They don't want it overproduced. So
Definitely.
so if somebody wants to just like I am kind of a lo-fi kind of grunge or velvet type of artist and I want it to be kind of more true with happy accidents in it, can you still use your tool?
Absolutely. So again, it's very genre specific, and we again try to compare your song to similar artists, similar sounding commercial tracks. So again, like our database is not only what's in DropTrack, and so the songs that people have uploaded over the years, you know, we've been working with lots and lots of artists and labels, but also we go and search, you know, Spotify and Apple Music and SoundCloud and the popular like streaming providers in order to understand what's resonating, how to compare your song from like a audio sonic level as well as lyrics and mood content,
And
and
maybe
like
like
really
genre.
helping understand how you stack up against others that are making similar type of music than you. So like we're not going to compare your ambient track to the latest Taylor Swift like pop song, like
Yeah,
that doesn't
yeah,
make sense.
that's not
But
makes
like
sense.
among other ambient songs, how does yours compare? Is it something that would be likely to be added to a playlist of other ambient music that like you might enjoy and find your song as a part of?
Yeah, or if you were kind of like a college radio guy, or you like power pop, or you're an Alex Chilton fanatic, right? You're like a big star fanatic, and you're kind of like that's the vein it's in, right? If you're in that kind of vein, well, that's not a super popular area. But if you get it to the right people that dig that, or somebody that wants to use that, you never know. That's the question. Is it that it can it get that specific?
So it does. So again, like based on our AI matching algorithm, we're able to find similar music, similar artists that have found opportunities, whether it's playlist placement, like certain record labels that are signing that type of music, or certain radio stations, maybe some of the college stations you mentioned that specialize in that specific genre. We can
Yeah,
really narrow down and
narrow it
recommend
down.
those
It's kind of like the
opportunities.
underground, kind of lo-fi, or they kind of like shoegaze, kind of weird, stuff that's not supposed to be Taylor Swift. It's not supposed to be top 50, but it still has like worldwide. There could be a lot of people that dig it.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's outside the US that dig it. Maybe it's the Netherlands that dig it. Maybe it's in Australia they dig it, or in Berlin they dig it. You know,
You know, we've had a lot of interesting international customers and growth on DropTrack, and some of the more obscure, you know, genres that I've had to learn more about. Like obviously K-pop, not so obscure, but like there's a lot of
Yeah,
K-pop
K-pop
artists
is
out
very
there.
specific. Yeah, because there's a whole group of people that love that. Like the folks that like anime and manga. There's people like the K-pop. They like the Taiwanese stuff. They like the Chinese stuff.
It's
I
very
spent a lot of
popular.
time. I spent time in 2 years in Japan,
Oh
and I
wow.
ended up watching a lot of Taiwanese dramas. I
Okay.
watch a lot of Japanese dramas, like police dramas. I like Japanese police dramas. There's something about it I like it. I watched that before I watched CSI. Just because
Amazing.
I grew up liking it. I mean, I kinda got into it when in my 20s, and I still like it. So I just look for it everywhere I can find. So you get some people like they want something very specific, and so you actually can meet the kinda like it's like a Tinder for people finding Like
That's one way to describe it. So we have like, we call it an AI matching algorithm. So on the one hand, you have, songwriters or producers or record labels that have new music that they want to get exposed to another audience. And on the other hand, you have DJs that want to discover the latest song and play the latest song before anybody else. Playlists that want to put their song on a playlist because they want to get more listens for their playlist. Record labels that want to sign new music and discover the latest and greatest artists. So we have this marketplace of these different sides of the music business, and we connect them together based on, again, what is going to be the best opportunity for success for both the artist and the label or the DJ that they're connecting with.
So people probably, before they get to you, they should probably make sure they got their artist pro stuff set up.
Yeah, I mean, as a way of measuring the impact, and especially if you're doing, if you're interested in growing your Spotify streams, having your Spotify artist account set up or your Apple Music artist account set up so that you're able to log in and see, the impact of your streams growing, be able to customize the widgets that are shown on your profile. We definitely recommend all of that. And we have guides that can help with that. And we also offer sort of like a high touch done for you service where we will actually go in and help, set up the promotions, pitch to DJs, the editorial playlists on Spotify, and do that sort of marketing work for you, almost as if we are a PR agent or a manager, helping to.
Do you help with I'm a part of BMI, so I go and I register my stuff. So if somebody I give it to like a DJ or I give it to Twitch, I get like I have a deal with BMIs. If somebody Twitch streams my stuff, I get a certain rate.
Yes.
So do people have to set that stuff up before they go up to you, or do you walk people through that?
So yeah, depending on the goals of the promotion campaign and like what we're going after, we can make sure that all of that is set up so that you're getting all the royalties and performance tracking that you expect.
That's always important. A lot of artists don't realize that they spend so much time writing the song or creating the song or touring the song. They fail to actually register the song properly so they don't get all the money.
The metadata is very important. Like I'm still, from songs that I wrote 10, 15 years ago, I still get the occasional ASCAP statement with some dollars. So like, again, it all depends on all the metadata being correct and identified in these systems correctly. So that's something, we definitely, we support on our end, like importing the UPC codes, the ISRC codes, making sure all the genres and moods and things that people are looking for when searching through databases of music for placement.
Because a lot of artists probably incorrectly tag themselves.
So we have an AI auto tagging, another use of AI, right? That goes through and knows what we can figure out about the song, the BPM, the genre, the mood, all of that, and it automatically label the tracks for you. So you don't have to, obviously you can go correct it if it's wrong, but it's like 98% accurate. So this is pretty good.
That's really important because a lot of times the artist might I believe I'm shoegaze, right? But maybe you're something else too. And if you don't tag yourself right, you missed the opportunity.
Definitely. And it's hard to go back retroactively and change that, especially if you've already sent the track out or it's already at distributors and people are buying it. Or even worse, if you have something on vinyl, right? And you have physical product that now you want to go and change. So always want to get that right.
But it's like a lot of people make mistakes when they're releasing new music. They say they go blast it out and it's not ready, or they didn't promote it properly, or they give it to the wrong promotion company and they spend a lot of money and they don't, maybe they get views, but they don't get clicks. Nobody actually buys it.
I think it's a very good point that there's a lot of sort of vanity metrics that, can be gamed, or you can purchase fake streams or profile views. And is that really going to move the needle for your career, or like the actual goals that you have? Is that going to help you get booked for a local show, or you can get people to buy your merch? And if it's not authentic, like real listeners and engagement, then it's just not.
How can this guy have 1 million plays? Like I never heard of him.
And in some cases, I don't want to discount, because there are some like fan bases and like artists that I just have never heard of, and I'm not in that world, and like they are immensely popular. But there are signs, and like you can tell when somebody is inauthentic, or if they have 1 million streams on Spotify, but then you could look at their Instagram and they only have 500 followers, and maybe there's something doesn't add up.
There's a disconnect. It's like how's that not translating?
Exactly. And so
Yeah, you got to be careful because, like, people get taken down. Like
People
I
do
heard
get
a lot of
taken down.
people
We've
getting
dealt with
taken down.
that. We've had customers come to us and say we worked with some other service and they used a lot of bots and got our tracks taken down from Spotify and our account flagged. And we're very careful with any of the playlists that we work with, that these are real people that are vetted and like we've had relationships with years. We don't use bot traffic or any sort of like illegitimate ways of gaming the system because it's just not worth it in the long term, and it doesn't lead to the like actual benefits that people expect, like other than raising the count. If it's not actually doing anything for your career, it's not
Yeah, if
worthwhile.
it's yeah, if raising an account, but nobody's buying a T-shirt, nobody's buying it. So what's the deal?
Right,
But
as long as you're clear on that goal up front and like you want people to buy the t-shirts, then maybe that's not the right tactic to go.
yeah, yeah. So how does the artist stand out? Do they try to be hip and follow the trend or sound like people to get into like sync licensing, or do they try to lean into really refining their sound that really is uniquely theirs and get it to be really good to the point where then they can push it like this is a commodity. There's nobody else that sounds like this, and it
you
sounds really
know
good.
there's a different strategy for everybody. I've seen kind of both work over time. What you mentioned the sync licensing, and in that use case, the best strategy is really, I think, to watch a lot of shows or movies or things that you hear music in and you could identify, oh, my song could kind of fit here, and
Mhm.
then like really do the research and find out who are the either the music editor or the music supervisor, or sometimes it's a director of the show, and you can reach out to them either through DropTrack, or honestly a lot of times you can find these people on LinkedIn or just on
Mhm.
Google, and you say like, hey, I make music. I think it would be a good fit for the show, you're working on. Do you have any upcoming projects, or do you need any music for upcoming shows? Just try to start the dialogue. I've actually
Mhm.
had placements myself that came about as a result of direct email outreach like that. And so, from a sense, it's not that I would advise you change the direction or change the type of music you're making in order to fit a certain show or a certain opportunity, but you should be aware that like there are going to be better fits for your style of music than others, and you should not blast out your music to
Everybody.
everybody. You should
Yeah, we
find a
should try to
targeted
figure out like,
opportunity.
does it fit horror? Does it fit this? Does like whatever genre it is, does it fit reality show? Does it fit like just look
Exactly.
at like what you're doing. If
Yeah,
you've
you're gonna
got
have a much better chance of success if you focus and target, do some research. Like
yeah,
it's not. It takes some time. It's easy, but it takes some time to do. Find out the best contacts for your music, the best opportunities to license it, or the best labels that have worked with your type of music before, and do targeted outreach to them. Again, this is something we do at DropTrack, and we can help people do, and we do it for them all the time. But this is the general process that I would describe, like for any artist. This is the best way to get an opportunity to expose your music to bigger audience.
and what do you say to people like that kinda look there's a whole trend in, with a lot of artists that, like, they just don't like AI. So, and when you gotta, like, give the separations, like, this is not like AI writing your song. This is like AI helping you promote your song, though you have tools to help you and maybe revise your song and give you better advice. But
That's a
if
good
you want
point.
some people that might just say, I can't do it because I just don't like it."
It's really interesting, and I can understand all sides of opinions on this. Like, I am a musician myself. I've been an instrumentalist and playing and writing, original music for many years now. And I also am a technologist, and I love the idea of technology making it possible for people to do things that they couldn't have before, or that required a team of people and lots of money and equipment, and now anybody can do by themselves on their phone or on their laptop. I think that's amazing. But at the same time, there is the concern about like attribution and credit and these AI systems that are potentially reusing copyrighted music. And I
Yeah,
understand
that's what
all of
some
those
people get,
concerns.
like, like a pure artist mindset of like, I don't like it back when people sampled and they didn't clear the sample. The technology got ahead of the legality. So like people had their MPCs and their samplers and they were just doing whatever because the tech let them do it. Then later they paid the price. I mean, they also paid the price for a long time. They couldn't even get some of their stuff out because they took it forever to clear up a lot of it. Um, so sometimes
Absolutely.
the tech gets ahead of the law.
I think that's very much the situation we're in today. It's kind of the Wild West. Even if there were laws, they would be hard to enforce. And so what we've seen now is a trend toward these AI companies making deals with major labels, with big content owners, so that they can license the use of, you know, a Rolling Stones track or a Taylor Swift track. But what that will ultimately do is cut out indie music, right? Like independent musicians from
Yeah.
having their music considered as part of the training that these models use, because they're not paying for it with that sort of relationship. That's just a hypothesis on where the industry is going.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
But
eventually people get to the point where they go to New Orleans and they actually see like a blues guy or a jazz band and they say, you know what? There's always going to be a place for that. No matter
there
what
is.
the tech is, like there's always going to be a place for that guy on an acoustic guitar in front of 300,000 people without any backing tracks actually doing it. Right. I think there's
I,
always going to be a place for somebody that's like, doing that kind of work because it's a human thing.
I agree 100%. I love live music. It's one of the reasons I love living in LA. There's always, you know, a concert or show to go to any night of the week. I do want to bring it back to, like, you know, AI and people concerned about AI making music. And I think there are different, uh, just as there are different types of people making music, there's different use cases when people are listening to music. And going to a live show, or seeing a live band is different necessarily than walking down the aisle at a grocery store and just hearing some kind of like music in the
Yeah,
background.
like
And
Muzak.
right. And so, like, should AI be used to make that music, the elevator music, and like leave musicians the
Good.
opportunity to do other, you know,
Other
more impactful
music.
performance?
Yeah,
I don't
well, it
know.
depends. Like it's like where does it, get rid of an opportunity and where does it give an opportunity? Because
Exactly.
like
So
with the tech, it's like people said the sampler was going to kill everything, but it didn't.
it did not.
Even though a lot of hip hop bands actually have live drummers when they go on stage. So the fact is that the 808 didn't get rid of the drummer. The drummers are still there, right? People still want drummers. So I think is people got to realize that there's a lot of room for the tech. It's just like the people who just want to be absolutist. That's always the problem. Like because they say they hate it or they love it, but there's no in between.
You know, I would hope that people have more like of a grayscale or more nuance than that, but I view it as just the next evolution of technology to help with music production and music in general. And you know, it's not even the first use of AI. Like we could talk about auto tune being used since the 90s
Yeah,
to do pitch correction. Like that is technically AI. These sort of like auto mastering systems like Isotope and Ozone, right? Like this has existed for a long time using algorithms, using AI to do something that previously you would have to hire a mastering engineer for, or
yeah.
like you know, somebody
Even
else. And
in my role in Juno, I've got like this intelligent arpeggiator that's got this chip that's actually listening to what I play and
okay,
providing bass lines in the instrument itself. Now I can
that's
take
awesome.
or leave those lines and I can change them and adjust them, but it gives me like an accompaniment that's more sophisticated than like a Casio.
Yeah,
Like
which
you
is
can
awesome.
like
And it would have taken you a lot of time to do that yourself if you could even come up with it in the first place, right? But
yeah,
the
completely.
technology enabled you to do that.
Yeah, so the tech is like, and I got, I've got that on one board and I got a mode that has none of that tech. That's all like transistor stuff from the 70s. And it is a case for each one. Like I
Absolutely.
actually play both at the same time. So I think that people just have to realize like this is a tool. If you're having trouble, you've gone out there and you haven't been able to, really push the needle at all with promotion. It seems like DropTrack is an opportunity for you to see how could I use this tech to actually help my career, right? To actually help me actually make it a career.
I think that's the right way to look at it. Like we have learned a lot in the years since, you know, I first started the company about what musicians want to be doing, what they want to do with regard to marketing and promotion. And honestly, most musicians don't want to worry about it, right? The ones I've
They don't
talked
want to
to,
do it. They want to pay somebody else to do it, but they don't have the money.
that's sometimes the case, but yeah, you're right. They want to be like in the studio making music or performing on stage. They don't want to have to deal with social media, building email lists, reaching out to DJs, all that sort of things. And so we've really tried to make DropTrack a place that anybody can use, with whether they have their own industry contacts already or they don't, or they're just starting, to really help people understand, like, number one, is the music ready to promote? And number two, what is the best opportunity to have success, whether it's getting signed to a label, getting played on the radio, getting put on Spotify playlists. Everyone has a different goal, and we can
Yeah,
use
there's
technology. We
different
should
goals.
use technology to make our odds better as independent musicians, and really like try to, not compete necessarily with the major labels, but still be able to have a business, sustainable career, and whether it's a side project or not, from what you're doing, your passion, the music that you're making, and try to make that as easy for independent musicians as we can. And so that's kind of been our mission throughout the whole journey of the company. And whenever new technology comes out that we think can be useful to help enable musicians, speed things up, enable them to do more than they could before, we're going to, test those things out and make those available.
So they think within promotion, there's a couple. Well, there's a couple of threads. Like there's a band that might be like they're a live band and they want to get booked, and they find that like really they make their money from doing shows. So the more shows they can do, the better. They would love to get streams, but if they actually are building a fan base and people are following them from town to town, and they're localized and like, you know, maybe like Los Angeles, they're hitting every club in Los Angeles, they got a big buzz, but they want to go to Colorado or they want to get to New York. Is your tool in the space to get bookers, or is it different?
So we can help a couple ways. While we don't work necessarily with, like concert promoters or bookers in the same way we do with DJs and labels and playlist curators, we do offer some tools that could help you identify that, oh, like Denver is the right market to go to. You can use DropTrack to build an email list that has geo-targeting. And when people listen to your music, you can look at them on a map and build a segment of, here's all my fans in California, here's all my fans in Colorado.
Figure out where you have them or not. Yeah.
The size, to know where to target your tour, where you're going to actually be able to sell tickets, and then take that data and go to the promoters with it, as a way to get more bookings. So that's definitely one way that we can help there. Another way is, we've a lot of the artists we've worked with that are booking shows say that one of the main things that promoters are looking at is their online presence and like their Spotify stream count, their
they need
number
to have
of
like 1 million streams or 500,000 streams, or they're not going to book them.
So again, like as long as it's authentic and targeted in that demographic, like again, if you're making Americana music and all of your listeners are in the Philippines, it's questionable about whether if you book this artist in Houston, if you're going to get people.
Everybody's going to show up if I made 2 people.
Right. So this is why like the authentic, targeted, like Spotify playlist placement in order to get your song streaming more in the markets where you want to tour is a good signal to then go to the promoters, go to the show bookers and say, look, I have this fan base. They're streaming my music in your locality. If you book a show, people are going to show up and buy tickets.
Is that really kind of nature? Like people need to understand what is the nature of of Spotify or any of these streaming services. Is it really like the radio back in the 70s to actually get you out there so people know who you are, so they actually buy the ticket to go see you? Is that what it is now?
That's part of it, but it's also just having your music on Spotify is not enough, right? There's thousands of songs uploaded to Spotify every day. So you still have to call attention to it. You have to get people to listen to it either one by one or by, finding people with their own audience and getting them to expose your music to them. And that's the strategy, that we've taken with the playlist curators that already have, thousands or millions of people listening to their playlist. If you get your song on there, people that already like that type of music are going to start
Jump up.
listening to it. They're going to discover more of your music, and that helps provide these authentic signals, not only to get booked for shows, but to start selling merch and get people to sign up on your email list and, like, you know, get to know you as a fan, which is, you know, still, I think, very important, that these are human relationships, artist to fan, that you're trying to build, and it's not
Yeah,
a one-time
like,
transactional thing.
yeah, because you get fans that they like in the old days, bands used to have fan clubs and like maybe newsletters.
Yep.
And they would send out newsletters, you know, like Grateful Dead used to link up with people who do like these fanzines and stuff. But like, is that a thing anymore? Like
Newsletters for
online
sure. Yeah,
newsletters?
I mean, I think the newsletter is often forgotten, but is one of the most powerful things an independent artist can do, is to build an email list, whether that's, you know, at a show, you've got a clipboard and you're having people put in their email, or you have a QR code that people scan and type in their email, or you're giving away free tracks in exchange for their email address, something you can do on DropTrack, by the way. But once you have an email list and you're able to reach these people repeatedly, that is so much more powerful than posting a message on Instagram or Facebook, because you, in this case, you own your audience of your email list, and you don't have to pay, or like hope that the algorithm gods on social media favor you and show your post to the people that are already following you, much less new people. So I really do encourage building an email list, keeping
So
people
email
up
is
to
still a
date.
thing in the text age because a lot of people say, "Oh, email is dead," but email is not really dead,
Wrong.
right?
Email is not dead. I highly encourage it. Text is also very useful. There's tools you can use that let you do a very similar, like, you know, email list, but via text, and you can send out messages to people. You can geo target when you're in their area and you're going on tour, to get people, you know, hyped up about your show. I encourage people to really look into all of those sort of communication tools.
So standing out still is like you said initially, like, or maybe you're not ready, maybe you need to refine that track. And then also there's knowing like what playlist to go to it, but like fundamentally, like so part of your tool set is to actually determine whether or not you're actually ready, correct?
So we have this music analyzer tool, which, again, it uses AI, so everything it says should be taken with a grain of salt, but it provides an objective opinion on the readiness of your track for commercial appeal. Again, depending on the genre, that's going to mean something different. But this tool is really useful for understanding, is it the right time to promote it further, to send it out to DJs, you know, promote it to the world, or should I go back, workshop it, change some things, try to improve it? Again, like, we call it your AI powered A&R agent. Or so it's the type of person, your A&R rep, that in the old world, the label would, you know, discover new talent that needed some, you know,
Assistance.
some workshopping to
Yeah,
get
it's
the
like
music up to a
where's
good
like
thing.
yeah, can you get these engineers and producers like where's the hook?
Where's the hook?
It's too long. Like
Does it
some
sound
people used to
good?
say some people always say that like first 3 seconds, first 4 seconds, can you actually get somebody in?
You
And you
know,
know,
that's really important in other genres, like in EDM, like, how impactful is the drop, right?
yeah,
Like, these are different things depending on the genre that are important, that we can now use technology to help the artist, like, understand where their track is meeting those expectations and where maybe it could use some work. And
yeah.
then, you know, it ties into the rest of our promotion tool. Like, if it is ready, then here you go. Here's the best label to submit it to. Here's the best DJs that want to play this type of music and continue, you know, your promotion journey. And if it's not quite ready, we provide resources on, like, you know, here's some mixing tools or some ways to improve the mastering, or you know, resources on how to improve the clarity of the mix. We can provide, again, depending on what our AI learned about the music, but listening to it, to help actually make some meaningful improvement to the sound.
Yeah, it's like really important because like a lot of times like I was talking to some producers and they say like if people are at home with their dogs, right? If they come into a recording studio, they have a hard time actually playing that track in the studio
Mm.
because like they've never had to actually do it in a studio, which maybe is not a big deal anymore. But like if you don't understand like how to actually play together as a band together, like because so many people are putting these things together and they're like long distance. No one's
Sure.
actually in the same room. And there was something about actually getting sync with the drummer and sync with the click track and actually being able to do it live recorded. It's a certain level, but I guess it doesn't matter when you're doing this type of music on DAWs, but like when
You
you go to
know,
play live, it might matter.
at a certain point, it might matter. I'm working on a project now that is, like kind of EDM, but with a live vocalist. And so it's very important to like be able to record things on tempo and be able to perform together and have, like a live element to it as well. But yeah, I think at a certain point, it's a different skill, or it just takes practice to be able to make something in the box and then also perform live and go back and forth. But
Yeah,
that's
because
part of
sometimes
the
like your studio track is not your live track. Your live
correct.
track sometimes becomes alive, and it could for just may not be. I'll have all those backing tracks. Not going to be as perfect, which is not a problem to me. Is like it's going to be more authentic. It's going to probably have some changes because
Which
when
is
the
what you want, right? You don't want it to
yeah,
sound exactly like the record.
yeah,
Otherwise, you would just listen to the record.
yeah, like why would you just go? It's like I can just play it. I could be a DJ that's like faking that they're hitting the sliders.
That happens.
Instead of actually hitting the slider, did I actually touch anything? There's like, yeah, okay. I
Yep.
can go
Well,
somewhere else.
it's all part of the performance, you might say.
Yeah, yeah. But like, yeah, I think it's real important to know like what where you are. It's kind of like Victorians used to have the looking glass self. Every artist should probably like take that good look at like what who am I? Who am I trying to? Who should my fans be? Or who are my fans? So is this gonna really tell you, like, who you are as an artist and who are your fans?
So one of the things that I struggled with, like as an artist, and I think a lot of people do, is describing your music in terms that other people can relate to, and using similar artist comparisons and like actual words to get people excited about your music.
Mhm.
And everyone, a lot of artists think, oh, the music I make is so unique, like no one else has ever,
Couldn't
heard
dig it.
made
You
anything
never
like
heard
the
it
people.
before.
I'm a unique flower. And the reality is, no one's gonna want to listen to that unless you can frame it in a way that, like, oh, I'm like, uh, you know, Bob Dylan, but EDM, or like,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have something that people
yeah.
can grasp onto, and then start thinking, oh, what does that mean? I want to like know more about that, but at least they have some frame of reference. And so our technology, again, like allows you to understand who the similar artists are. We generate a list of like, I think 5 or 6 when you upload your song, based on the sound quality, like the audio characteristics of the file, and all the information in our database about other songs that sound similar. And then we also have this, press release generator, which the goal is to explain in words why somebody would want to listen to your music in the first place. And when you're communicating about my song, hey, I have this great new song, it sounds like blah, blah, blah. Here's the backstory about how I created it, me as an artist, all of this words that you use to get somebody excited about even listening to it in the first place. And so we can help, again, using technology to tell that story, to give people a first draft or some ideas at the language they could use. Maybe they've never thought about it, like how do I describe my new song or the story behind the song? Or maybe they're going to hire a PR agent and pay, a huge fee for somebody to do this for them. Now we have technology that can help
Yeah,
you
no
understand how to describe and identify who your fans are based on those similar artists and the similar genres and the other characteristics of the songs that our technology can help you identify.
would your tool help people figure out what podcast they should go on?
Uh, we possibly, like, we have worked with some podcasters, and like it's a longer form audio, so there's just like some different engineering challenges in processing and like doing AI matching against a 2-hour podcast versus a
Mhm.
3-minute song.
Yeah.
But it's something we thought about, and certainly like the genre recommendations would still be valid, but our database of like podcast creators and the different show opportunities, and whether they have paid spots, or if it's you have to go through an agent to get there's a lot of information that we could look
levels,
there and
yeah,
direct
which
you.
ones actually you can go to without going through an agent, and ones you
Exactly.
can't, they still have impact.
So we could start to think about that, but for now we've chosen to focus really on music.
I mean, like, but I think it's good to know where your focus is. That's cool. I think I just want to, because there's so many places like the press release. I was always wondered today, like, where did it go? Like when you do the press release, what press is actually looking for it?
So specifically, it's journalists and bloggers. So that's usually who we work with and send press releases to. But even when you're sending your music to a label or a DJ,
You want to do it in that form?
yeah, you want to have like a paragraph of something that's personalized, that tells like why you're sending it to them, like what similar music they've played recently that you think your song sounds like, and really make it something that's not generic, like, hey, listen to my new song, or
Oh yeah,
something I'm
just like
blasting
everybody
out
else,
to
like
1,000
the
people,
last
obviously.
1,000 year you got everybody's saying the same thing.
Right. So having some personalization, coming up with a pitch that is, targeted at the recipient and like helps get them to want to listen to your music in the first place. And then it's all on like the quality of your music, right? Like if we can help you get them to listen, and then the music has to be good, right? For them to want to engage with that.
You can't have a lot of hype and then you get it and it's like, why was there so much hype for this?
Exactly. So there's a certain amount of credibility that, if you send somebody, 100 different things, like are they going to listen to it? Or if you send them, wait until you can send them one really good
One
thing.
great thing. Yeah, you gotta kind of, not flood the guy, because if you flood him, he's not gonna pay attention to anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's kind of like you got to have strategic thinking. Like what's the best way to do this? What's going to have the biggest impact?
I think, not only be strategic about it, but start small and experiment. And this is kind of my, advice for any sort of marketing, whether it's music or otherwise, is don't put all your eggs in one basket. Try a bunch of things at a small scale and see what works, and then really lean into the things that work.
Oh
And
yeah,
like,
that's like, yeah.
yeah,
Instead of throwing like all your money into one thing, you're
definitely.
saying
Like
like,
the same thing is not going to work for everybody. There's a lot of different tools and strategies and platforms. And, my advice is like, try a bunch and see what is going to work for you.
which
And
one?
then really like lean into that.
Yeah, because then you at least yeah. There's more opportunities. Like if you throw everything into one basket, then you're like, yeah, then you're kind of out of luck if you just like you just you blew it all and you didn't get enough. It's like, if you,
And you didn't learn anything, or
yeah,
you only learned that the one thing didn't work.
it
You
worked.
didn't
Yeah,
learn about any
it's
other option.
iterative. It's kind of like agile. Like of
Exactly.
software.
I have the software background as well. So yeah, you could describe it as like agile iterative development,
Yeah,
iterative
you just gotta
marketing.
throw it at the wall. You gotta have how many different versions of this do we run? Just like, if I'm writing a song, I might do tons of variations. Like, the reggae version, the rock version, the folk version, the lo-fi version, and then make a decision like, and then you might like I use like SoundCloud as a beta test. And then I see if something really gets a lot of vibes, then I'll push it further and push it to Spotify. If it doesn't get the
That's a
vibes, then I don't
great
push
time.
it. So there's like then you kind of use that as like a beta reader, like an
That
author uses a beta reader.
That's a great test. But then you could also imagine like, the name of the track, or the album art. You could experiment with different versions there, see what resonates with more people, who's going to click more on it. If you're going to run like a Facebook ad campaign, the text that you use in the ad that shows up makes a big difference, right? And whether somebody's going to click on it or not and listen to your song. There's an endless number of things to test and experiment. And I just, there's not a right size fits all solution for everybody. It's like the best way to do marketing like this is to test a bunch of things and
Just see
find
what
out what
works.
works for you.
Yeah, it's cool that you guys have this kind of like environment or this tool that allow people to have like a powerful like ally, because a lot of times it'll, the people win with the labels because they're gonna do what you're doing. Like they're gonna actually get them, like they're gonna get them on that playlist. They're gonna get them on the radio. That's why they went with a label. That was the service that they wanted. I
You
don't
know,
even
and,
think
and
a
that
lot of
could
the
still be
labels
right for some people. You know, I don't want to discount labels. I still run an independent label, so I love labels, but a lot of technology exists today for independent artists, so you can do a lot of the same stuff yourself, get the
do it
same sort of
yourself kind of
connections
thing.
without the label.
Yeah, because I mean, even the labels sometimes don't do what they used to do. Um,
That's true. You know, they are very much now not in the business of developing artists like they used to with A&R. They're more in the business of discovering uh, artists that are already,
established.
yeah, somewhat established. Like they have streams, they have a fan base. They can recognize revenue growth. Like there's something already working. They're going to pour fuel onto the fire and make it even more
Way I make I
successful.
really push it because like if this guy's already got like everybody's watching him on TikTok,
And you know,
and
that's
then we
just
can
good
like
business.
put him somewhere. We gotta
Right?
get him on
It's
stage.
less risky to the label to go after people that already have some sort of track record like that. And so I would say, yeah, use the tools you can as an independent artist to grow as much as you can, and you know, without a label.
Get that viral thing going. If you get any kind of the only thing is that viral stuff a little bit of a double-edged sword. Because if you go viral, like, are you like the one hit wonder type problem?
You know, I think a lot of that has to do with the execution, that the tactics, and whether you can capitalize on that moment and get direct people to discover you as an artist or your other work or other videos. It might be yeah, like the flash in the pan thing, which again, you know, obviously, you know, is not terrible,
It's
but
not terrible to be a one hit wonder. I mean, they had guys that their whole career is because they got one song
yeah,
and
but
they still make
I
the
think
money.
the strategic thing is to think about, okay, I've got this moment where a whole bunch of eyeballs are on me. How can I turn that into long lasting, you know, career growth?
Longevity. Yeah, you don't wanna have to be the guy that's playing that one song,
Yeah,
but if that's what it is, that's what it is, but you don't want to do that. I don't think any artist really wants that, but
that's true. There's always a balance between playing, you know, what you want and what the fans want.
yeah,
Yeah, I can see that.
yeah, you try to sneak yeah, you do that one song, you sneak in like 10 other ones for an hour.
Yeah,
You give them the one song, and then you sneak in the ones you really like,
and then people wait till the end to hear the one other one they
when they
came for
want.
every
But
time.
I wanna thank you for being here. We do have the DropTrack, QR code, so if people go to DropTrack, is that just they can just go there and sign up? If they
Absolutely.
if
We
they
have a free account. You can sign up, upload your music, get an objective AI analysis, you know, like an A&R feedback about what's working in your song, what's the sound like, who are the similar artists that we can compare it to, is it ready to promote? And then once your song is ready to promote, we have relationships with record labels, DJs, playlist curators, music supervisors, bloggers, journalists, the type of people that can expose your music to a bigger audience, whether you're using our tool that's, you know, self-serve, go to droptrack.com and sign up, or we have a done for you service where we act more like your manager or PR agent, do the promotion for you, find the right opportunities for your music goals to try to take your career to the next level.
That's awesome. So you got different levels. That's cool because some folks might want what you just described, and other people might want the other thing because, maybe they want to be more hands-on. So you said this whole tool is like giving people that wanna have more hands-on control or ownership of their promotional strategy, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a very much, we have a do-it-yourself tool where we give you, you know, the same tools to connect with the industry influencers, promote your music, track the analytics, understand how people are listening to it, you know, plan the tours around where people are engaging with your music the most, like you mentioned. All of this is part of our DropTrack platform.
I thank you for putting this out there for artists because, we've always tried to create this as a safe place for people to, promote their art and, or even talk about their vision for art, but we rarely get to talk to people from marketing that actually make that happen. So, thank you for giving our audience. There's a lot of creative people that check us out, and I think they'll want to entertain like, oh, this is something I haven't looked at. Maybe I need to do that. So I want to thank you for being here.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I enjoyed the conversation, and yeah, would love to chat more about how we use AI to help musicians and how we could help your music in particular. So we can
Yeah,
follow up on that later.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've always been, I've been on a couple labels a couple times, and yeah, it goes the way it goes. But I want to see like what happens if I try different path, because I've been on a couple labels that did said they were going to do X and said they're going to do Y. You know how it goes, but we'll
Absolutely.
see. Yeah, definitely interested, and yeah, that'll be. I think I want to check out what we can do with this, because I'm a believer in the tech. I believe people don't sometimes use the right use case for AI, but this sounds like a cool use case for it to me, and I think it's a really awesome idea. And I want to thank you again for being here today.
Very cool. Thanks again. It was great.